Trendz travel. It is brighter, vibrant and more luxurious than ever before. Of course, it is also more beautiful. If you're not a big fan of change, don't worry though, we still have the same fabulous content for you. We are just taking it up a notch. Apart from all of that fabulosity, we also have a surprise for you. Trendz Travel is becoming more interactive. So do take the time to catch us on Twitter at Trendz Travel on SABC. Right now though, here's that content that we promised. We are taking you to the home of jazz in Johannesburg, the Orbit, celebrating the month of jazz, which was last month, and the Day of Jazz, the International Day of Jazz, that happened on the 30th of April.
A picture taken in 1999, giving thanks to spirits and those who made the crossing from their home across the Atlantic to the Americas, has inspired a conversation between sight and sound. The Orbit Jazz Lounge in Bloemfontein, Johannesburg, hosted an exciting dialogue between an artist's lens and the most prominent jazz musicians in South Africa. We sat down with the photographer Andrew Shabangu, who has dedicated his life to taking photographs that depict African spirituality in all its forms.
It came about when I started to photograph, which was the late 1980s into the early 1990s. And I remember around that time, it was during the time of, what we call them upheavals. Within our countries, and most of the narratives or photographs or images that we used to see in publication or television were mostly images of township violence at the time, and of course we had those violences, but myself as somebody from the townships as well, realizing that in the township it was not only violence that was happening as well, there were other instances and other things that people were doing. People were going to churches, people were going to the movies, going to the shebeens and so forth. And other narratives were not necessarily being broadcasted or printed in the print medias. And then therefore from that point of view I decided that to concentrate on the instances or images that were not necessarily of the mainstream, that we not necessarily see in the mainstream medias, images of the quieter moments within our township. So spirituality was one of those. Once a year, I think it's around June, July, the communities of African Americans in particular New York, they come together and at the Coney Island to pay tribute to the ancestors of the Middle Passage. Ancestors of the Middle Passage were those people who were forcefully uprooted from their home countries in the different countries in Africa and forced into like one big ships or other ships as well and into the New World. I'm quite excited about it and quite excited about the idea that in most cases, and especially in South Africa, I don't know about other countries and so forth, that it is very rare that we have people from different mediums dialoguing around the common issues. But in this particular instance, it's around this particular photograph that I took in New York in 1999. And the title of that is called Tribute to the Ancestors of the Middle Passage.
The brains and inspiration behind the night talked to us about what led to the idea of lending sound to an image that had made a huge impact in his life.
Tonight we are here because of a performance titled Sonic Bridges. The performance is based on one of Andrew Shabangu's photograph, which is an image shot in New York of a moment of giving thanks, but also a tribute to the passage which those who were transported from Africa to the US as slave. So that photograph has been interpreted by musicians, which I will name. On piano we have Andy Leyenana, on trumpet we have Fair Faku, on vocals we have Titi Luzipo. There are also other musicians who will be joining the three. Ayanda Skade on drums. There's also Timbingosi Mavimbela on bass, as well as another bassist also will join for the second session. So what basically we are doing, we are performing that photograph. So it's a sound response to the visual. I was moved by the photographs. So I wanted that photograph to come to life. What it means when people come and meet it. You know, I mean, what it means, not to be confronted, but to have a dialogue. So as I was working, I said, what else can we do to add dimension to these images? That's where the sound, which is part of a project I've been working on with musicians, especially jazz musicians, where I'm in conversations with them to help me to find that which I don't see in these photographs, which I can hear, but I don't have the capacity to hear because I'm not a musician, in the sense that they work with their instruments, with their voices. So what I thought would be beautiful is to have a dialogue, because I had a dialogue with Andrew, I had a dialogue with the photograph. I said, this musician will help me because I'm interested in the space between the photograph and the artist himself, Andrew the photographer, but also I'm interested in the distance between the photograph and myself. And now I'm interested in the distance between the photograph and the musician, because it is in that space I believe that things I cannot see, or I'm not able to see in this photograph. But I think sound is going to help me give this dimension, because one of Andrew's series called Bridges, which is about the theme I've mentioned on spirituality, on religion, you get a number of things happening there, where you see people praying, you see people chanting, you see people marching, you see people like in this trance. They have entered other universe, other worlds, like whether you call it transcendence, but just speaking to these worlds that we don't see, to the gods down, to the gods up, to the gods around us. So I do believe that this photograph produced these sounds I cannot hear but imagine. So I thought this musician will help us to unearth or bring these sounds into life.
The artists were all asked to spontaneously perform what the picture made them feel. Emotions translated and spilled into quick, emotive, spirit-filled calls mixed with mellow solos of the voices.
So we did 3.5 songs. The first one was improvised, so it was never rehearsed. We've never done it before, and that was because we studied the picture before we went on stage, and we found a certain flow of the picture that took us to different emotions, and we interpreted the picture in different ways, and we brought ideas together, and we said we'd rather actually interpret those ideas on stage. And that is why you saw such great chemistry on stage, the energy as well, the peace, but yet the calm of the water, and the man going into the water, either through prayer, through spirituality, but it's a certain emotion that evokes. The second song is a song titled Umlambo or Pilisai, which is a song written by a very good friend of mine, Mandis Janjis. So this song talks about the power of the healing water. So we tried to merge the energy from the previous song, which was improvised. We took that and we then brought the song, which speaks about the power of the healing water. So, and then onwards, we then started flowing with this water and this image, because then the next song was just another improvisation. So we started flowing with this water and this image, and we'd have a look at it every now and then, and we just let our emotions take over. we had a chat, like sometimes music is not planned, you don't have to plan it. Music is all about the emotion, music is all about the feeling at the moment, music is all about what you're thinking at that time, it's thought-provoking. And that's why we thought, why pin everything, why not just flow with this picture? And this man is actually looking to a place that we don't know. So why not allow ourselves to go to the place that we don't know through music?
An emotive night of great art and history, and we look forward to see what Joburg's best jazz club has for us next.
Before we take a small tiny Nyana break, I just want to remind all of those who've just missed it, we are now on Twitter at Trendz Travel on SABC. Right now, though, we take a short break.
SABCnews.com is your one-stop digital portal to all the news you need. With a website that is easy to use on mobile, SABC News prides itself in being the primary source of public service content across multiple platforms. Watch live streams of all the big news events on the SABC News YouTube channel, which is one of the most viewed South African YouTube channels globally. And catch up on the best of SABC television and radio news. Follow breaking news on all of the SABC News social media platforms, interact with SABC News on Facebook, and stay connected on Twitter for the latest headlines and real-time updates by our reporters. SABC News, everywhere.
Corruption both in the public and the private sectors needs to be combated.
Where there are clear cases of wrong that has been done, that must commence immediately.
Something is being done about corruption in our country.
Currency, even although it's strengthened dramatically after the ANC's recent elective conference, could conceivably go stronger yet.
He had a soul that would not be for sale.
Stay tuned to Your World for your final news roundup, Monday to Sunday at 21:30.
To Trendz Travel. If you've just joined us, boy do we have a surprise for you. This is the new look of Trendz Travel and you've seen it here first. Right now though, we take you to one of the most beautiful places in South Africa, if not the world. We're going to Knysna with our colleague Ted Meister, the Ted Man, or better known as Teddy Bear. Stay tuned.
A feeling of memogasm creeps in when you're traveling to an incredibly breathtaking place. And there couldn't have been a better way of describing our visit to the beautiful coastal town of Sedgefield, nestled along the Garden Road in the Western Cape. As we set to explore what the rustic small town has in store, the first stop landed us at this Wild Oats Community Farmers Market to check out what they have to offer. Here we were warmly welcomed by a minstrel band, which serenaded us with some awesome music. Which was followed by a spectacle of an array of stalls selling different plants and foods.
We are the only dedicated farmers market in South Africa. Everybody here is a producer, so it's a producer's market. So we've filtered out resellers, which keeps our prices low, and everyone pays 10% of what they make turnover-wise, and it's based on honesty. So we really put a lot of focus on people working together, enjoying what they're doing, and then the honesty thing just kind of comes by itself. And if it doesn't, then we work really hard on working with people and supporting them in as many ways as possible so that they fall in love with us.
Now in its 15th year, this small and intimate market also attracts visitors who consistently return for more of its festive fare.
It's such a special place to come on the weekends for everyone to be together and socialize and mingle and see what's out there in the market. And yeah, you don't get a lot of these places in South Africa, and more should come up.
Then we were off to enjoy the most tourists rave about when visiting Knysna, oysters.
This is amazing. This is like the best thing to have for breakfast in the morning. A German sausage with onions and mustard and tomato. That's fantastic.
And as a chef, how do you rate it out of 10?
This is out of 20. This is it's fantastic. Really beautiful. Sedgefield market, awesome.
Judging by the mood of visitors here, it is clear that the market always lives up to its expectations. Our next stop is Peggy's Art Gallery, situated in Knysna. As we walked in, I'm greeted by the artist's amazing African art pieces and crafts, and awards on the wall. Being the only black-owned art gallery in this coastal town, the artwork here draws you into a world of mystery and wonder, with bright colors and suggestive figures from rural villages, township scenes, and Ndebele figures.
I have been painting since I was a child, but I really didn't know that this painting, it can make me sustain my living and be the way I am at the moment. I really didn't know. I was just painting as a hobby, just to relax, to enjoy.
Browsing through the art gallery, one gets a feeling of awe when seeing this body of works ranging from wearable beadwork, shopping bags, masks, and clothing pieces. A haven for tourists who are spoiled for choice.
I really receive a lot of visitors from 2015, when I was awarded as an Entrepreneur of the Year by the George Business Chamber. It helps me a lot to have a lot of visitors, a lot of customers. People started to know me, to realize that I'm doing a very good job, a very good work, a very good artwork. So a lot of visitors from all over the world, German, let's talk of Canada, let's talk of USA, they come here. When they come to South Africa, they come to the garden route, they come to Knysna, and then they ask for Peggy, and then I'm always there to show them, and sometimes I teach them. If I have enough time, I teach them how to paint, and they go back home with a piece of African work that they do it right up here in this studio.
So just in case you are still pondering about the idea of your next holiday destination, you might want to consider Knysna next.
Good day, Trendz. It is still summer, but it's quite a cold day today. And today we're in the south of Johannesburg at the Red Play Zoo Farm, where they are hosting the Muddy Princess. This is a 5-kilometer obstacle course that is done in the mud. Well, I'm going to join them with my colleagues Katlego and Nadia. But right now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stop with some face painting. Before our leg of the race officially starts, we decide to get our warrior stripes, psyching ourselves up for the anticipated challenge.
Thank you. Okay. I'm ready, guys. Done.
Muddy Princess is a 5-kilometer obstacle mud run for women and women only. Women in all sorts of attire, representing different social groups or causes, come in teams or come alone to enjoy the day.
You guys are about to go on this thing, right? How are you feeling? Amazing. Team Marvel. What is Team Marvel? Us. All of us.
Good luck, ladies. Wish you all the best. Have you done it before?
No.
You're going to love it.
Every 15 to 20 minutes, a new race is started. At the start of every race, there is a 5-minute warm-up where ladies, girls, women, females, however you like to call them, join in on stretching, jumping, bending and twisting. And then it's all.
How did Muddy Princess first start? Well, I wanted to do an obstacle course in South Africa, and there have already been so many competitive obstacle course races. So my business partner and CEO, Frank, came up with the idea to do like a obstacle course race for women only.
Okay, and how long has it been running so far?
We're now getting into our 3rd year, so 2 years are more or less done.
And how often does the Muddy Princess race?
We host up to 10 events per year nationwide in South Africa. So we're going to different regions 1 to 4 times.
And why girls only?
Because, as I said, there are already so many obstacle course races, but all of them are for mixed gender and they're very competitive. And a lot of women feel intimidated by racing next to men, and yeah, so it's like rough and hard. And we've got our pretty pink muddy course, so that's what the women enjoy, and they just want to do their girls' day out by themselves.
And who should do the Muddy Princess?
Every woman, literally every woman, no matter of age, of size, of race group. Every woman can do and should do a Muddy Princess.
And what should their fitness level be?
There's no fitness level required at all. So no matter if you like a couch potato and you've never done any sports at all, you're welcome to join and just walk the 5K and do the obstacles with your friend, with the help of your friends. Do it in teamwork. It's so much fun. I can promise every woman who believes she can't do it, once you finish the Muddy Princess, this is the greatest achievement ever.
There are several reasons to take part in the 5-kilometer obstacle mud run. One could brag about beautiful locations, as every month it takes place in a different city and often a different province. But mostly it's about the challenging obstacles, the muddy race course, and of course the lovely participants. Some come to run, others come to support, and others come to watch. The event is for women from all walks of life, all ages, and all kinds of fitness levels. As long as you can crawl, walk, run, climb, laugh, and play, it's a great opportunity for a girl's dirty day out. So far, there have been in excess of 26,248 entrants in all Muddy Princess events combined, having done 231,420 kilometers between them.
1, 2. I'm gonna wait for you to get there. Whoa! Yes, I know how you feel. Whoa! Go, Whoa!
I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing it. There is no competition and no timing. It's all about lots of fun and lots of laughter. It's all about building camaraderie, as on this day, all Muddy Princesses build a huge team to enable everybody to make it over the obstacles and across the finish line in their own pace.
Okay, ladies, we just finished the Muddy Princess. How are you feeling?
Awesome. It was lots of fun. Be nice and clean, as you can see. We'll definitely be back.
Would you do it again?
Definitely be back next year. Yes, awesome.
You obviously just finished the Muddy Princess race. What was it like?
It was very fun. It was very messy.
It was awesome.
Everything they said.
Would you do it again?
Yes,
definitely. What was your favorite part?
When I threw mud at everyone and rubbed it all over their face. Rolling in all the mud and swimming through the mud. Jumping off the ledges.
I would say rolling around, all the mud, everything muddy.
Guys, so you've just finished the Muddy Princess. What are you feeling?
I'm being tired, but I'm happy. It was really fun.
Yeah, I'm tired and it was like very muddy and something.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of it?
The last part.
Yeah, the last part where you just fall like in the water. Yeah.
Well, guys, that was the Muddy Princess. It was mud. As you can see, we're both soaked in mud. I already got my clothes off. Nadia's also soaked in mud. Katlego left to get herself clean. But it was an amazing adventure. We do recommend that you guys come out and do it.
Yeah, guys. See you next month, I think. Bye.
I know we've just blown your mind with all that fabulosity, but we've got so much more coming up for you after the break. But just a small reminder, you can catch us on Twitter at Trendz Travel on SABC. We'd love to hear from you, and I'm not just saying that.
Let's cross over live to Griselda Lewis, who is standing by at the arbitration hearings.
But I didn't think about it at the time that people could be dying.
Let's update your sports news.
Get all the dominating stories locally and globally on Newsroom every Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. How safe is social media? 25 years into democracy and we're still battling with apartheid. Are we really the so-called rainbow nation?
If we can go there, they will beat us something or chase us away or kill you.
Not forgetting the dangers of substance abuse.
When he brought those things and came to us, they were looking so tasty with crushed lemons and strawberry and colorful straws.
Importance of education for all. Is the judiciary and government failing the people of South Africa? These are some of our stories on Cutting Edge. Catch it every Sunday at 5:30.
It's vibier, it's brighter, it's funkier, and it's also more opulent. This is the new Trendz Travel. Right now, though, we take you to the home of opulence, which, as you know, is France, but it is in the heart of Roodepoort at the Lys La France, where we learn about French cuisine. Stay tuned. Good day, Trenders. I'm in the heart of Roodepoort right now, and you think I'm in the heart of France because I'm at the Lys La France here in Roodepoort, as I said earlier, and we're going to be taking a bit of a journey with the French chef who's going to take us through the kitchen and a bit of a taster, so do join us.
Today you have joined Les Délices de France. And délice is exactly the same word as it's delight, the delight of France. So we use that word because, you know, it's often unknown. What is a délice? Delicate, delicious, delight. And so we intend to keep this in the food. For a lot of people, French cuisine, petite portion, no, it defies the idea. French cuisine for me means true to the taste. And true to the taste is the way it's always been done, if it's a classic, or the way it should be done if you create something. So, what we got for starter, that side, main course, I want people to see what a beautiful duck breast is about. Ducks are so underrated. We're selling so much here because I guess a lot of people do less and less duck. A Chateaubriand, have a look at this piece of meat. The filet beef that we all know, the end of this is a chateau. Usually served for 2 people or 3. It is pan-fried, finished in the oven, so roasted, and then sliced and served with a béarnaise sauce. Chateaubriand béarnaise, a classic. Frog legs, you're gonna say who, ha, who, and you know, like crocodile, like we were saying, it tastes like chicken. What I show you here is a Norwegian salmon that has been cured. Cured is a big word for putting in salt with some sugar for a certain amount of hours, up to 36, 48 hours, depending how you like it to be cured. And your result is a beautiful salmon that is ready to eat. So tonight on the menu, gravlax, a beautiful shimeji, smoked duck breast salad with a lovely dressing made out of honey and miso dressing. It gives a nutty taste. It's absolutely phenomenal. And we will do the frog legs as a starter, although you can have them as a main course. And believe you me, you have to use your finger. This is a French establishment. You take, and you put it, you get a finger bowl after. Temba, my assistant, with me number what, 2 years, 2.5 years now? 3, oh my goodness. He is our hot chef, working also on the coal, but we work together on the stove. So what we're gonna do is the frog legs and the scallops that we're going to prepare. And you're gonna see, oven is on, chef? Always an oven on. That's where French cuisine is. A lot of the items will find a way to the oven. So I just need 1 or 2 minutes to get heat. I want to show you something. For the scallop, we made a pea puree. Pea, I must be honest with you, just a bit of cream, some butter, salt, pepper, hot as a base, lemon butter on the side. Fire, Chef Ola, you can go. This is your béarnaise sauce for the beef fillet later on. And one of the soup that we sell, made so much of it, and I want you to taste tonight, is a bisque. Bisque de langouste, who is a crayfish bisque. We don't have homard in the country, we've got crayfish, so the carcasses, crushed, pan-fried, veggies, stock, brandy, cream at the end. That is quite a delicate soup, but full of taste. One operation that I believe is so important that steakhouses sometimes forget is salt and pepper, anything before it goes in a pan. Don't add after, it doesn't perfume the meat. So pepper in moderation, but salt, it falls off, you can see, we don't do them. The natural taste of the meat will come out. And often I'll go to a nice steakhouse, the meat is beautiful, but it has got no taste because no one was capable of putting the basic salt on. Voila. You can start with the 2 starters. Yes? Go, once. We're putting our scallops in a pan. I started with olive oil, and as soon as I got the heat, I add a bit of butter. We don't have margarine in this place, only butter. Finishing my scallop. This is the lovely part of cooking. Always flambé, a little bit of brandy. Pure butter made what we call a lemon butter sauce. In French, it would be called a beurre blanc, white butter. You can see we try to take butter that has not too much coloring, and it is no starch, no flour, no maizena. It's a pure sauce. Voila. We're sending now the frog leg. Did you put the parsley, chef? And you can see what you see is what you get. Our portions are not petite. What I promised you, a crispy, dark skin on the magret. So you're gonna say, oh, it's so small. But what happened is not the meat content or the water, it's the fat that has completely disappeared and it's caramelized to that side. So when you get served the duck breast crispy, you should be able to eat everything. So this is exactly one breast. And it's the same weight, but it needs to go through the 7 minutes of crispy on one side and then a little bit on the other side. Voila.
How has the South African community embraced French cuisine?
Let me tell you, a lot of people who come for the first time will say, oh, you know, it was not exactly what I looked for, or I didn't know the product, and it's fair. It's a learning curve. But a lot of South Africans know what food is about. And a lot of restaurants or restaurateurs do sometimes take South African public for granted. They travel, they know. If they go to France and have a cassoulet or any type of dish and they come back and you tell them, oh, but we adapted it to the taste and the palate of the South African, it defies the idea. You have to be true to the taste.
Then it was finally time to be wined and dined, as they say. We are offered an assortment of breads, sourdough, rye, and of course the famously French baguette. And since we couldn't decide, we went with all three. Our starters arrive as promised. First we have the deliciously prepared gravid luck salmon with sour cream and honey dressing. Then it's onto the smoked duck breast with miso dressing. A favorite was the pan-fried scallops on a pea puree with lemon butter. And those were just the starters.
So the fun with this one is to find out what's on the bottom. So it's a pea puree, so French, all the puree, broccoli, pea, parsnips.
Great, let's try this. Let's try this. Very soft, you can definitely taste the peas, but it's like peas from heaven.
This is something I wanted to try. French, although we use butter, we use cream. Sometimes when you say no, so we do use olive oil. This is extra virgin olive oil, and it's called the sauce vierge.
Okay, so next we're trying the lionfish. Chef was just telling me that instead of using butter, they used extra virgin olive oil. So if you are not a butter fanatic, they can still take all of that out and put butter in instead. So I'm just gonna cut it there and cut it over here. It's very tender and it's quite warm, so I'm just gonna. It's a lot of flavor. I can taste the olive oil and some garlic, but it's really, really good. Very subtle and not chewy. Like, I'm not a fish fan because it's generally chewy. This is really good.
The Kabalu lionfish was the first of our 3 mains, so we had to pace ourselves, taking a breather to look over the menu and wine list to see what we might have been missing. With a range of hot and cold dishes for starters, meat and fish for mains, and even fromage de jour, which is cheese of the day. With our special vary selection chosen by chef, we are not missing much. Then came the Chateaubriand. That's fancy for beef fillet in béarnaise sauce. Main number 2 is of course duck breast à l'orange, which as you know is pan-fried duck finished in the oven with orange sauce.
The bright pink, let me tell you, it's a statement. For so many years we had a little bit of a monotone color, like an earth tone. People were passing by and had no idea that there was something happening. So when it came that the building needed a coat of paint and a bit more love than just a coat, so I said, no, we're gonna do. And it's actually not pink, it's fuchsia. Fuchsia, exactly. So, but you know what? So many people got intrigued, stopped, and they came too.
And finally, the cherry on top, or rather the flame on top, is our last course.
And now it's my favorite part of the evening, desserts. We have, this is a hot dessert. It was on fire earlier, guys. This one is ice cream and something. Oh, it smells so sweet, it smells really good. And here we go. Macaroons and sorbet and chocolate and creme brulee. And I'm gonna dig in sorbet. So I'm gonna dig in and you guys will see you a little bit later.
That ice cream and something thing I was talking about earlier is their famous tartartan turnover apple tart with salted caramel and vanilla ice cream.
And so we've come to the end of a deliciously French evening. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. We'll see you again next time. Now that was fine wine and fine dining at Little France in the heart of Roodepoort. Right now though, I want to take you to the home of wealth and lavishness, which will be coming up after the break, so stay tuned.
SABCnews.com is your one-stop digital portal to all the news you need. With a website that is easy to use on mobile, SABC News prides itself in being the primary source of public service content across multiple platforms. Watch live streams of all the big news events on the SABC News YouTube channel, which is one of the most viewed South African YouTube channels globally. And catch up on the best of SABC television and radio news. Follow breaking news on all of the SABC News social media platforms, interact with SABC News on Facebook, and stay connected on Twitter for the latest headlines and real-time updates by our reporters. SABC News, everywhere.
Welcome back, you trendy travelers. If you've just joined us, you are still at the right place. This is your favorite travel show, Trendz Travel on SABC. This is our brand new look and you've seen it here first. Before the break, I did promise you that we'd take you to the land of wealth and lavishness, and I'm going to do that. But just before that, I'm going to remind you that you can catch us on Twitter at Trendz Travel on SABC. We'd love to hear from you. Right now, let's go to Dubai.
The Queen Elizabeth II ocean liner, also known as QE2, has been given a new lease of life as a floating hotel in Dubai, 10 years after the Gulf Arab Emirates bought it for $100 million. State-owned Dubai World bought the QE2 from Cunard Line in 2007, but the 2008 financial crisis delayed any plans for the 40-year-old vessel, one of the world's most famous ships. Now, the QE2, permanently moored in Mina Rashid Port, has been refurbished based on the original design, from its carpets to the theatre and even restaurant menus featuring dishes served in the liner's heyday. A reception housed in a boat-shaped structure in the quay welcomed guests at the official opening. Large portraits of United Arab Emirates rulers hang opposite portraits of a young Queen Elizabeth II and Samuel Cunard, the founder of the company that built the ship.
We have started this project 3 years ago, and our main incentive and our main objective was that we have her as a museum and a hotel. We're opening the ship in phases. The first phase is 7 decks, 7 floors, and that is 244 rooms. Now, there's a huge following around the world about the QE2 because how famous she is and what she stands for.
The QE2 first entered service in 1969 and has sailed around the world 25 times, carrying more than 2.5 million passengers. In its new incarnation, it has 1,300 rooms, with rates ranging from less than $200 to as much as $15,000 for a suite. It also has a museum and 13 restaurants and bars. Dubai hopes the QE2 will boast tourism in the most visited city in the Middle East, which welcomed over 15 million tourists in 2017. Officials say they are targeting 20 million by 2020. Cunard's Queen Mary II, the world's largest ocean liner, was also docked at Mina Rashid and sounded its horn to mark the occasion.
Nostalgia. We have been on the ship when it was active, on the QE2, when it was actively, a Cunard ship. So we sort of wanted to come back and see it, and then maybe if we're in Dubai again someday, we'll come stay on her. She's remarkable.
In a hurricane, but we were proceeding at full speed, and the ship was very noisy. But then suddenly the captain came on and said, we'll need to stop for about a day and recover and wait for the storm to go by. So we did that, and a lot of people were sick, but everything was fine as far as the ship was concerned. But it was when a 90-foot wave hit the ship and smashed in some of the glass and the bridge.
Deep in the mountainous terrain of Libya's Gerian city, the last of the historical cave homes are struggling to attract local and international visitors. The ancient houses were dug in the sides of mountains some 400 years ago in the 17th century. They were designed to help maintain a temperature of 21 to 23 degrees Celsius throughout the year.
طبعا الحوش هذا حوش عمر بالحاج. طبعا عمر بالحاج حفر الحوش هذا في سنة 1666 ميلادي. طبعا عمر الحوش 352 سنة. طبعا من سكن في الحوش هذا عمر بالحاج وأولاده وأحفاده وأحفاد أحفاده لها اللحظة.
Residents are kept cool during some soaring 50-degree summer heat and shielded from the winter cold temperatures, which drop to below zero.
تحفر في حياش الحفر تكون 4 5 6 المجموعة يعني. طبعا الشغل متواصل كل يوم لين يكملوا، من نهار يبدو لين يكملوا. أنا ما فيش توقيف. خاطر ما فيش إنه يقول لك اسمنت مثلا ولا حديد غالي ولا كذا، لا التاجوق والقفة. اللي هو التاجوق يحفروا به، اللي هو التاجوق معروف ممكن، اللي هو زي الفاس بالضبط، ريشة واحدة زي منقار، زي ربع دائرة زي منقار النسر، وخفيف تحفر به معناه ممكن حتى 10 أو ربع ساعة وأنت تحفر ما تعياش يعني، إيديك ما تواطيهمش.
One of the last surviving of these homes is the Amr Belhash cave. The number of cave homes once reached 4,000, but most of them have been destroyed by climate change, neglect, and resident migration within Libya. The last family descendants left the Amir Belhaj cave in 1990, but Al-Arabi Belhaj recently renovated it and it attracts some visitors. His clients are mainly Libyan visitors and some foreigners who reside in Libya working as doctors and nurses. Belhaj said he opens the cave for people who want to experience an ancient Libyan night away from the city, but slowing numbers have caused him to shut the attraction down for days on end.
لا بالنسبة للشغل تو ناقص يعني. الشغل مش زي قبل الثورة لكن في شوي يعني ليبيين في شوية أجانب مقيمين يعني طبعا نقولوا احنا ممرضين والدكاترة الأجانب يعني يجوا مرة طبعا احنا مش فاتحين طول الأسبوع يوم الجمعة بس اللي يوم الثانية يكونش بتليفون مسبق نفتحوا له لكن إن شاء الله السياحة تفتح وتفضل أفضل من قبل.
Although business is not going well, Belhaj is optimistic that tourism will eventually pick up. Many hope tourists will come to the country that boasts 1,007 kilometers of coastline, ancient treasures including 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and a spectacular desert view. Each cave complex has a total of 8 rooms and 3 kitchens.
Now, trendy travelers, as promised, we are getting a little more interactive, and as such, do we have a surprise for you. Not only can you reach us on @Trendz Travel on SABC, but we also like to hear from you regarding any of the gigs that might be happening, any of the events that might be happening. Right now, I'm going to tell you what Trendz Travel is up to for the next few weeks.
Trendz Travel is always on the lookout for the best in events and ways to spend your leisure time. So coming up on the 12th of May is the 2018 Winter Sculpture Fair. A day of contemporary art combined with the best food and wine from the Franschhoek Valley. It is the perfect excuse to get out of the city and spend the day in one of Gauteng's most spectacular outdoor venues. We will definitely be there. Friday 18th to Sunday 20th May sees Hyde Park hosting the Bubbly Festival. If you are looking for sophistication and fun with live music, great food and loads of bubbles, then Joburg's celebration of South Africa's finest capped classiques and champagne is for you. Taking place over the course of 3 days, all you need to do is buy a ticket and choose a time slot. The 19th of May sees establishments all over town going gaga over the impending nuptials between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So if this is your cup of tea, you can join in on the celebrations at One Fox Food Market, where you can dress up and watch it on the big screen, or the Tea Room in Edenvale is doing it as a very British affair, with a spiffing menu for the royal occasion. While Rand Club will be hosting a high tea in honor of the wedding. Take your pick. On the 25th of May, Joburg's favorite design show returns for the second event in 2018, featuring rooms on view, the best interior design and decor collaborations seen on the continent. 26th and 27th of May brings you the ultimate groves and vineyards experience. Get your VIP tickets and enjoy Prosecco on tap, a dedicated seating area close to the stage, delicious casalinga antipasta and more. So come and find me, we'll definitely make a day of it.
Now this is me doing my Instagram post for you guys. Right now I've come to the end of this week's edition of Trendz Travel. It is our new look and I hope that you've enjoyed it. Do remember to catch us on @Trendz Travel on SABC. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place.